All right, let's get right into it. Today's explainer is all about this truly fascinating philosophy called strategic life. It comes straight to us from the founder of Life Shawnee One tour guide Xu Feng, or as it's rooted in the original text, Yuanzu Shengming Chanyuan Kran Tren Shu Shu Feng. You know, in our modern hustle culture, we are so incredibly obsessed with the how to do things faster, better, more efficiently. We track every habit, we optimize our mornings, we just push ourselves to the absolute limit. But what if all of that effort is completely misplaced? Today we're diving into a source text that argues we actually tend to ignore the why and the where, the fundamental strategy of our lives.
To really grasp this, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine you're using the absolute best materials. The highest grade steel, the most premium concrete money can buy. You bring in the top machines, the finest architectural workers in the world to build this massive, beautiful skyscraper. You spend years diligently putting it together, only to watch the whole shebang instantly collapse. Why? Because the entire thing was built on loose sand. And honestly, this perfectly hits the nail on the head for Xu Feng's core thesis. If your overall strategy is wrong, there is literally no amount of brilliant tactical execution that will save you. Think of strategy as your macro plan. It's the blueprints, the foundation, the ultimate direction you're heading. Tactics, on the other hand, well, those are the methods, the daily grind, the specific tools you use. If you make a strategic error, all those little tactical wins you get every day, they ultimately equal zero. If your life's blueprint is flawed, the daily grind means absolutely nothing.
So here is our blueprint for today's explainer. 1. Strategy versus tactics. 2. Strategy 1. Use strengths. 3. Strategy 2. Follow timing. 4. Strategy 3. Know position. And finally, 5. Ultimate strategy, true life.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Strategy versus Tactics. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. The source text recounts this massive undertaking in a remote village in Zimbabwe. They needed to dig a water well, and the tactics here were honestly incredible. The villagers mobilized with this immense energy. They cleared trees, they built 10 kilometers of roads just to get to the site, they actually successfully hauled in these extremely heavy drilling machines, and the workers tirelessly drilled down 90 meters deep into the hard earth.
But guess what the result was? A giant zero. Not a single drop of water. Why? Because the geologists had chosen a spot with absolutely no groundwater. It really didn't matter how hard those villagers worked or how advanced their drills were. They proved in real time that immense tactical effort just cannot overcome a fundamental strategic error.
Xu Feng gives some brilliantly absurd everyday examples of this, just to show how easily we misdirect our own energy. Imagine a super motivated salesman trying to push imported socks to a culture that never wears shoes, or a completely tone-deaf person agonizing over becoming a professional singer. The author even points out this mental image of exhausted ants starving to death because they built a tactical masterpiece of a nest in a sterile, spotless bathroom instead of out in the garden. Or an eager investor building a soy sauce factory in the freezing middle of Siberia. These aren't failures of hard work, right? They are absolute failures of strategy.
Moving right along to Section 2, Strategy 1. Use strengths. This is where personal strategy has to begin. Think about Mother Teresa, a literal giant of compassion and charity, and compare her to Marie Curie, a brilliant pioneer in scientific research. If Mother Teresa had forced herself to sit in a lab studying radioactive elements all day, or if Marie Curie had forced herself to run orphanages, their lives would have been highly frustrating and largely ineffective, right? The text also brings up Chen Jingrun, this brilliant mathematician who solved incredibly complex theorems. Imagine if he was forced to be a corporate HR manager, just mediating interpersonal disputes all day. Complete disaster.
Which brings us to this incredibly bold quote from the text. If a profession does not suit you, or you are not willing to do it, then you must not force yourself. It is better to stay idle than to force yourself. Actually, scratch that. It's not just better, it's essential. Forcing yourself into a path that goes completely against your innate nature means you are automatically building your skyscraper on sand. Seriously, ask yourself right now, are you currently forcing yourself into a career that just totally drains you, simply because it looks good on paper?
Okay, Section 3, Strategy 2, Follow timing. Because effort applied at the wrong time is just wasted energy.
Xu Feng uses this vivid metaphor of a highly talented democracy activist who ended up in jail. Now, the author notes that the activist's ideals weren't inherently wrong, but his timing was just disastrously off. He was trying to push for these massive changes before the environment was actually ready. It's exactly like trying to pick a watermelon before it's ripe. You completely ruin the fruit and get absolutely nothing sweet for all your intense effort.
You absolutely must align your actions with the natural order. It's a simple, timeless wisdom. Farmers get this perfectly. They know they can only sow seeds in the spring and harvest in the autumn. But in our modern world, we often try to force outcomes out of sheer willpower, completely forgetting that we cannot speed up the seasons. If you try to plant seeds in the dead of winter just out of pure impatience, the universe is going to punish that strategic ignorance. Timing is literally everything.
On to Section 4, Strategy 3, No Position. This one is all about staying in your lane.
The source material warns heavily against this super common modern habit of constantly criticizing leadership or meddling in affairs that are way outside your direct responsibility. The author gives an example of a highly talented executive assistant whose future was bright, but he got fired simply because he couldn't stop critiquing the general manager's decisions. We've all seen this at work, haven't we? The highly talented person who totally ruins their career because they just can't stop playing armchair CEO. When you act outside your defined role, it really only leads to frustration, friction, and ultimately failure.
To anchor this concept, Xuefeng references this famous teaching from Jesus. It's a powerful reminder that our primary strategic duty is to manage ourselves first. Be an excellent citizen, do your specific job perfectly, and honestly, stop worrying about the sky falling or what everyone else is doing wrong. Mind your own plank, before you go looking for your neighbor's speck.
Which leads us to Section 5, Ultimate Strategy, True Life. This is the profound conclusion of the Life Chen Yuan philosophy. Wealth, power, fame, lust, ideology. Across history and honestly right now in our daily reality, countless people make the absolute worst strategic error possible. They literally sacrifice their actual lives, their health, and their peace of mind for these fleeting external things. Even sacrificing yourself for a political party, climbing a corporate ladder, or some abstract concept, it's viewed here as a fundamental strategic error if it severely costs you your very existence or well-being. And this is the crescendo of his entire philosophy. Everything's a game, only life is real. In the original text, it reads, Bun bun ye yoshi, weyo shimyong jun. This means that preserving your true life, your physical and spiritual well-being, is the only genuinely real pursuit in this universe. Everything else, it's just a temporary, constructed game.
By defining this ultimate strategy, the text suggests something incredibly liberating. Once you protect your core life and make it your absolute #1 priority, all the heavy burdens of the world just kind of fall away. Everything else, your career, your finances, your status, becomes a stress-free game. And hey, treating things as a game doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you can still play to win at work for sure, but your soul isn't crushed if you lose a deal. You stop attaching your essence to temporary things. And according to the author, achieving this state brings you profound wisdom, clarity, and peace.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to chew on regarding your own strategic blueprint. Look at your daily actions, your tactics. Are they serving a true, well-timed strategy that aligns with your nature and actually protects your life? Or are you just blindly working hard, building a beautiful skyscraper on shifting sand? Take a step back, look at the blueprint, and make absolutely sure your foundation is solid.